Hey Famous! So welcome back to the last case for this week of Fatal from Friday. In this case, we're actually going to be discussing a case out of Virginia, Blacksburg, Virginia, to be exact. We're going to be going to Virginia Tech University. Just for heads up, this is not the Virginia Tech mass shooting that happened back in 2007 or 8. Not referring to that shooting. Actually, it's not even a shooting at all. This actually happened in like 2015, I think. And so, yeah, let's just go and get started.
You had your fun, bet you're sorry now. You dressed me in white to just lay me down. I would've stayed till death took me out, but then you fucked up and gave me the gun. So I'll give you one more shot.
So of course we gotta start off with our killer. Jessica Michelle Ewing was born in 1991. Couldn't find a date. She was said to have grown up as a Baptist in the town of Easton, Maryland. She was a Girl Scout from kindergarten to high school. She had played trombone and piano, and on top of being in the marching band for the school, and she even went to mission trips to Turkey and Mexico. She was said to have actually been sadly be a victim of sexual abuse by a friend's father when she was younger. Sometime during her senior year, she would get accepted into Virginia Tech University on a music scholarship. While there, she would be going for a major in biological sciences. She would end up graduating Easton High School in 2009. In 2012, she'd actually had snakes in her dorm room. She had snakes, rabbits, spiders, lizards, and a salamander. And so, of course, as you can imagine, pets aren't exactly allowed in the dorm rooms. And so Jessica was trying to hide them. And so she had found out that someone was coming to check. I don't know what she overheard or someone had told her, but she found out. So she hid them in a steam tunnel on campus. And so somehow she was found out. It didn't say how or if someone snitched or whatever. And so she had to start community service and was subsequently kicked off her university's ROTC. And it said that someone had actually made an accusation of her, hazing the recruits by pouring water on their face while they were exercising. The accuser would say that she was waterboarding them, which we know, of course, that's dangerous. But she would say that she simply asked them if they were thirsty. Her expulsion from the group had cost her social circle and her housing. So apparently her being an ROTC was paying for her housing, so Jessica had to go live off campus. And so then in the spring of 2013, she was said to have been drugged and raped by an unknown man at a campus party. She told no one about this but therapists at a local counseling center. And so as you can imagine, that fall she was suffering through depression and she was failing her classes. Jessica would actually start meet Samantha, another important place in the story, around November 2013. And so Samantha Shrestha was from Nepal, the country of Nepal in Asia, around August 6, 1992. So even though she was born in Nepal, at the age of 3, she actually came to the States to learn English at school, but she was still speaking her native language, which is Nepali, at home in Vienna, Virginia. She also learned Spanish, Hindi, and American Sign Language. Her older sister would tragically die in December 2008 due to a motorcycle accident because apparently she was getting a ride to school when it happened. And so Samantha would attend and apparently graduate James Madison High School. And so then she had also worked part-time as an emergency medical technician, also known as an EMT, with the plan of becoming a doctor. So she was also a biological science major with minors in medicine, society, and psychology. And so then sometime after, shortly before the tragedy that happens, she had been accepted into Penn State College of Medicine. So she had been accepted into medical school. And so when Jessica and Samantha first meet, Jessica apparently said that The Lion King was her favorite movie, while Samantha had said that she had never seen it. So then they had made plans to watch it together, which Jessica would say that was actually their first date. And so Samantha had actually had a boyfriend of 3 years, Scott Massadelli. He had said that Samantha was at her house with Jessica on February 7th around 11:30 p.m. And so Scott had graduated back in 2012 and ended up finishing law school at William & Mary. He was aware that the two had kissed once or twice, and Samantha was curious to see what it was like to kiss another woman. So he was aware to a degree, pretty much. And so at 3 a.m. on February 7th, Jessica would text a friend from her Bible study group that, quote, "Tomorrow night is worrisome, and I can't stop this idea. It slowly creeped its way to consume my black heart. I want to. Let everyone else decide, but I've already etched it in history. So, of course, interpret that the way you want to. On the night of February 8th, Jessica was wearing a dress and had whipped cream, a can of whipped cream, and yellowtail wine. So, obviously, she's assuming this is a date. Samantha was wearing sweatpants and a shirt. So then, of course, Jessica gets upset and I guess has Samantha change to what she eventually does. And so the quote-unquote date has started off with them disagreeing over how to chop like peppers for a meal, which was said to be chicken with cornflakes and pasta salad. So then, of course, that basically started to even off bad because, you know, you're already starting off with a disagreement. And so Samantha was occasionally texting Scott throughout the night because, again, that is her boyfriend, and they talk on the phone, like, occasionally. And so Jessica and Samantha are actually said to have engaged in a whipped cream fight and then drank the bottle of wine together and then made blanket forts and then had sex. Of course, this is all what Jessica is saying would happen. And so sometime after drinking this wine, Jessica would call Samantha a spoiled bitch because Samantha had a Mercedes, which obviously that's kind of like an expensive vehicle, and the apartment that she was living in was currently being paid for. So then, of course, Samantha would say that Jessica was just an experiment and that she was just toying with her. So then, of course, Jessica was actually said to have snapped at this moment, and then she was said to have strangled Samantha, causing blunt force trauma to upper and lower extremities, and then they knocked over a hamster cage in the process. And so after Samantha is believed to be actually deceased at this point, Scott would receive a text from her saying, love you, like a text from her phone saying, love you, good night, sorry, at 12:28 a.m., which is believed to be from Jessica. And so they normally talked on the phone before going to sleep, so he called her several times to like no answer, which so of course he thought that was weird. Jessica had apparently went to sleep at some time after this happened, only waking up to the sound of the hamster running around. So apparently the hamster was still in the cage, but he was just running around. So then that same day, Jessica would go be at Lynette Dellinger's house, like off and on. Erica LaHub was also there, who was a member of her Bible study. Jessica had asked Erica to drive her to go get her car, which had been towed from a lot near Samantha's house. After doing so, she asked could she hang out longer. This is around like 8:30 in the morning. And so during Bible study at about like 3:30 p.m. that same day, Jessica would tell the two that she got into a fight with a female. At some point, she apparently had said that she was dead, and so Lynette would ask like how she knew the girl was dead, and Jessica said she checked her pulse. Jessica then asked Erica if she would still love her, if she told her what happened, that she admitted to killing Samantha. Erica then had Jessica call her mom, Donna, who was said to be a teacher, to tell her what happened. And the only words that she apparently could get out was that she was like, she's dead. And then Erica herself had to tell Jessica's mom that she had killed Samantha. And so that same day, Samantha would be reported missing after not answering her phone, because apparently her parents were also calling her phone at this point. And her black 2004 Mercedes C320 was missing. And so then Jessica would then ask Kiefer Kyle Brown, her best friend, to get rid of books that had tarot readings, the occult, and Shakespeare. And this was said to be so she wouldn't look suspicious. And so she would also ask Kyle, we're going to refer to him as Kyle, for help of disposing of Samantha's body by burning it around like 1 o'clock in the morning, and he declined. She would then later write in her journal, some friend, he won't even help me move a goddamn body. Friendship test failed. She then asked Erica for a ride somewhere, and she refused. So she decided to dispose of Samantha's remains herself in Samantha's car, with Samantha obviously inside. And so then that Sunday night, Jessica and her parents and a lawyer walked into the police station before leaving soon after. This was said to be because they weren't looking at Samantha's disappearance as a criminal case yet, because it was not uncommon for parents of college kids to be reporting them missing after they have been missing like for a day or two. And so then on the 9th, Samantha's roommate, whose name I couldn't find, so she's just Samantha's roommate. And so on the 9th, Samantha's roommate would tell the police that 2 wine glasses, a gold-cut statue, a hanging elephant head symbol, a small white leather notebook with a gold owl on the front, a picture of Samantha and Scott that she hung like apparently above her bed, and a light purple bluish sleeping bag. So then police would try to locate Samantha's phone, and it was found in Pleasant Run Court, which apparently that was where Jessica was living at the time. And so police would later get a white ski coat, black gloves, and a hat that Erica apparently let Jessica borrow. And so police would also get Samantha's wallet, an EMT bag, a Ganesh statue, Samantha's clothes, and a photo of her and Scott. And so then Jessica's journal will also be taken as evidence. Kyle will be charged with accessory after the fact and concealing of a homicide. He was released on $25,000 bond. Not really information said about him after that. This was on the condition that he would be supervised until the pre-trial until April, because the murder happened in like early February. He wasn't allowed to contact Jessica for whatever reason. And so another man, Michael Christian Heller, would be charged with accessory after the fact and released on $3,000 bond. He would claim that Jessica had contacted him on the 8th asking for help. Michael had got Samantha's keys from Kyle, to which she had asked him to get. And so sadly, on February 10th, Samantha's body would be found in her vehicle and the sleeping bag, the purple bluish sleeping bag that was missing. Ligature strangulation was said to be the cause of death. In the bag was a teddy bear, an orange and maroon scarf, a blanket, a pillowcase holding a blue dress, and a Relay for Life cup. So then Jessica would later say that those items all meant something, and that burning the body, Samantha's body, was basically giving her some type of funeral. So then Jessica would later be arrested at 3:45 in the morning at the Comfort Inn and was charged with second-degree murder with no bond. She would call Kyle before this on her phone, which she didn't have the time of the arrest, so it's believed that she disposed of it or they just straight up couldn't find it. And so she didn't talk to police and wanted a lawyer. Samantha's friends had started a fund in her honor that had raised about more than $14,000, and this was for the EMT clinic that she was working for at the time of her passing. So Donna, Jessica's mother, would also have a search warrant on her phone. I guess they believe that Donna may have been involved. And so Jessica, Samantha, and Michael's laptops would all be checked. Erica would say at the trial that Jessica had went to breakfast on February 8th. She would say that Jessica had a bite mark that she couldn't explain on her finger. And Jessica had apparently admitted that she did kill an EMT. Remember, Samantha was an EMT. Michael's accessory charges would somehow get dropped. It's not exactly said how they got dropped, but they are dropped. So I guess Michael's free now. Jessica's lawyer would try to say that her being abused as a child by the friend's father may have contributed to Samantha's death. So then she would also claim that the worrisome text to the Bible study group was about her being sighted but scared to have sex with Samantha due to growing up in a small town and growing up Baptist. So Jessica would end up getting 45 years due to taking an Alford plea deal. This is basically when the prosecution has enough evidence to prosecute you, and even though you don't confess to the crime, you do confess they technically do have enough evidence. And the judge actually says she had 80 years total, but she has to serve 45 in prison, and then she has 20 years probation, pretty much. And then there's an additional 5 years in there somewhere for disposing of the body. And so she also can't have contact with Samantha's family, as you can imagine. And so yeah, that was the case of another murder that happened at Virginia Tech. This case was actually kind of weird because when I first saw this case, a lot of people are actually saying that Jessica killed Samantha because she wore sweatpants to the date. After doing a lot of information, I think it really wasn't even a date, but of course Jessica saw it as a date, and so that's, it's whatever you want to believe. Sources always down below as always. And so yeah, that was the last case for this week of Faithful on Friday, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.
Oh my God, I won. Damn, it just done. You had your fun, bet you're sorry now. You dressed me in white to just lay me down. I would've stayed till death took me out, but then you fucked up and gave me the gun. So I'll give you one